Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Samara White and I'm a pharmacy resident here at Buffalo Psychiatric Center, and today we're going to be talking about wellness and well-being. In this video, we're going to talk about the difference between wellness and well-being, what the relationship is between them, why wellness is important, the different types of wellness dimensions, and what strategies we can use for each dimension of wellness. Wellness and well-being impact a person's overall health, their quality of life, and their approach or their attitude to everyday life. There are some slight differences between wellness and well-being, but the terms are often used interchangeably. The actual difference between wellness and well-being is not too important to remember, and it's perfectly fine to use these terms interchangeably, but for the sake of learning, we'll quickly talk about the difference between them. Wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits in different areas of your life in order to improve your overall health and state of well-being. Wellness is an ongoing process, and there are 8 different dimensions, and we'll discuss these dimensions in the next couple of slides. On the other hand, well-being is the total effect of using wellness across all dimensions. It is the realization that everything that we do, think, feel, and believe all influence our state of mind, our quality of life, and our overall health. Well-being requires the complete integration of body, mind, spirit, and many other factors. Basically, each of the dimensions of wellness all come together to contribute to your overall well-being. So we can think of the 8 different wellness dimensions as 8 slices of a whole well-being pizza or pie. Like I mentioned before, pursuing wellness is an active and ongoing process of making choices towards a healthy and fulfilling life. We can do this by striving to maintain and improve each dimension of wellness. Keep in mind that each of the dimensions are equally important and they're interconnected. So it's really important to find and work towards a balance of each dimension. When most of us think about what wellness is, we usually only think about it as only physical or mental health. But there's actually 8 different dimensions of wellness that are important to us. These dimensions are emotional, physical, social, spiritual, intellectual, environmental, financial, and occupational. If any one of these dimensions are neglected for a significant amount of time, it can have a negative impact on our lives. This next short video that we'll play will give a brief summary of each of these dimensions, and then afterwards we'll explore it together a little bit further.
Wellness is an active process of being aware and making choices toward a healthy and fulfilling life. Wellness is more than being free from illness. It's an ongoing process of change and growth. There are 8 dimensions of wellness: emotional, environmental, financial, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual. Each dimension of wellness is interconnected with the others, and all are equally important in the pursuit of optimum health. One can reach an optimal level by understanding how to maintain and improve each dimension and by creating balance. Understand your feelings. Express them to people you trust and maintain a positive outlook. It's important to pay attention to self-care, relaxation, stress reduction, and the development of inner resources so you can learn and grow from your experiences. Find surroundings that encourage good physical and mental health, and also where you feel safe. A positive environment has a calming effect. Environmental wellness inspires us to live a lifestyle that is aware and respectful of our surroundings. Make it a point to understand your finances. Money plays a critical role in our lives, and not having enough impacts health as well as academic performance. Establish good financial habits and plan for the future. Be a lifelong learner by expanding your knowledge and finding creative outlets that stimulate your mind and sense of curiosity. Be open to new ideas, insights, and wisdom. Actively participate in scholastic, cultural, and community activities. Look for satisfaction from things you're passionate about, whether they are part of work, school, or volunteering. Find ways to engage in occupational endeavors and feel appreciation for the value in your contributions. Reduce your risk from many illnesses by increasing activity levels according to your abilities. Get restful sleep at night, choose healthy foods, and explore the outdoors to reduce stress and increase energy levels. A sense of belonging and a reliable support system help during difficult times. Make at least one social connection daily. Seek advice from peers or support groups and create healthy friendships. Enhancing your connections to self, nature, and others brings balance and peace to your life. Disconnect from distractions and be mindful. Discover what values and beliefs are most important to you. Striving to maintain or make small improvements to the 8 dimensions of wellness is the key to your overall health. The pursuit of continued growth and balance in the 8 dimensions of wellness will lead to a better quality of life.
So now that we know that each of these 8 pizza slices of wellness all contribute to overall well-being, and we know that each are equally important, let's talk a little bit more about how to achieve or pursue each slice. For emotional wellness, it's important to be able to identify your emotions and the reasons behind them. Sometimes it's hard to put a name to an emotion, but developing emotional awareness is a very important tool, and we can do this by asking ourselves, what am I actually feeling? This is because emotions are not one-dimensional. So if you're feeling angry, there's a chance that you might also be annoyed, frustrated, or feeling resentment. You can also ask yourself, is there a reason for why I'm feeling this way? And if so, is it rational or does it make sense? The next step in emotional wellness is having or learning coping skills in order to manage your emotions. This is important because things aren't always going to go your way. So before things go wrong, you can have a list of things that you can do in order to cope. The reason why it's a good idea to do this while things are going right is because when things are going wrong, you probably won't be able to think straight, and you probably can't come up with the best solutions or coping mechanisms in that moment. To find good coping skills, you can ask yourself, how can I best manage or regulate my feelings? What works best for me? Who can I talk to? Or what would usually help me in this situation? For example, some people like to journal, meditate, exercise, or use art. Some people like to talk to others, especially ones that they trust. But for some people, expressing emotions to someone else may be a little bit hard. So sometimes writing down what you feel before you talk to someone can make it easier. Another big part of emotional wellness is being optimistic, which means hoping for the best. Like I said before, things aren't always going to go the best that they can, but changing your perspective can help a lot. You can reframe things as, just because this went wrong, it doesn't mean that everything else will too. Or, this didn't happen the way I wanted it to, but it could have gone worse, and I've learned from this experience. An important preventative step is to find ways to engage in self-care regularly. This kind of goes back to finding those good coping skills, but actually doing them before things go wrong, and not just brainstorming them. This helps you build an armor for the bad times, and that way you won't be as affected during these times. Self-care can be anything that you want it to be. Some people like to get massages or get their hair or nails done, but self-care is also setting boundaries and not doing the things that you don't want to do. Self-care also ties into the other dimensions of wellness that we'll talk about soon, such as physical wellness, things like exercising and getting enough sleep. spiritual wellness, practicing meditation or mindfulness, or social wellness, making enough time for fun and connecting with friends. The last thing that I'll mention for emotional wellness is reducing stress when you can, because stress is not good for your health. Signs of too much stress can include changes in your mood, such as anxiety, irritability, or being overly pessimistic. It can also decrease your memory and your ability to think clearly, or it can lead to impulsive behavior. These can all have a negative impact on you yourself, but these can also damage your relationships. Therefore, stress reduction is also important for social wellness. Next up is physical wellness. Physical wellness doesn't just prevent chronic disorders, it's also important for your mental health and your quality of life. Some ways to pursue physical wellness are to do physical activities or exercising. This can be anything from walking to jogging, biking, lifting weights, doing yoga or Pilates, or doing any type of sport that interests you. A good goal to aim for is at least 30 minutes of activity at least 5 times a week. Developing healthy eating habits is not only good for reducing risk of things like diabetes, heart disease, and high cholesterol, it's also really important for regulating mood. Many studies have shown that there's a direct relationship between foods and mood. And this may be because there's a lot of serotonin in the stomach. And serotonin is the brain chemical that helps us regulate our moods. People with diets high in sugar and fats have been shown to have worse moods than people who prioritize fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, fish, and other healthy foods. Some last tips to help you pursue physical wellness are to make sure to drink plenty of water every day, to sleep about 8 hours every night, and doing your best to avoid drinking excessively and smoking. It's also really important to make sure you're managing all of your physical health concerns, whether that be through taking medications, through getting lab tests done, or checking in with your physician more often. Some ways to achieve social wellness are to enjoy the company of friends, family, and peers. You might want to participate in activities or games with them, or maybe go out to grab a healthy bite to eat. Or if you're far away, emailing, calling, or texting are good ways to keep in touch with each other. Building healthy relationships can help you to improve communication and make genuine connections or bonds with others for support and affirmation. Having a social network can create an important safety net or support for when you're feeling down or when things are going wrong. They can even help improve your self-esteem. Another good way to achieve social wellness are to join clubs, organizations, or support groups, or even volunteering your time. The more time you spend together with other people doing similar activities, the more likely it is that friendships are going to develop. Spiritual wellness involves a person's values, their beliefs, and their purpose. Some ways to engage in spiritual wellness are through deep reflection. You can ask yourself, who am I? What's my purpose? What do I value the most? Or what's my destiny? This will help you to notice more things about yourself, and it may be a puzzle piece in understanding what other dimensions of wellness need more attention. Looking for meaning and patterns in life can help you uncover more about what your destiny or calling is, help you become more in tune with yourself, or help you understand yourself a little bit better. Some people don't follow a religion, and that's okay. But for those who do, religious practices and praying can be important aspects of achieving spiritual wellness. Yoga and meditation are not just for physical and emotional wellness, they're also important for spiritual wellness, and they can really help to give you more awareness about yourself. Meditation doesn't even have to be long. It's something you can do for 5 to 10 minutes a day. You can even do it as soon as you wake up. or right before you go to bed. Or you can even do it in the middle of the day. The timing really doesn't matter. For some people, meditation may seem intimidating, but here's a quick video to show you how to get started on practicing meditation.
How to meditate for beginners. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know, from where to meditate, how you should meditate, how you should sit, if you should listen to music or not. I'm even going to tell you how to turn off your brain. Where should I meditate? Experts will tell you that you can meditate anywhere, but in my opinion, I think you should just pick a very quiet place where nobody can bother you. So this could be a bedroom or a car or a local library. Even a forest could work, just somewhere that's very quiet and very peaceful. How long should I meditate for? I would recommend going for about 5 to 10 minutes, but it's really important to set an alarm, because if you don't, you will always be thinking to yourself, has it been 10 minutes yet? Should I stop? And the whole point of meditation is not to think. Also, quality is better than quantity here. In my opinion, being totally present and mindful for 10 seconds is way better than being a little bit present and mindful for 10 minutes. So longer is not necessarily better. What should I do with my body? Most people will tell you that you should not lay down when you meditate, but I don't fully agree with this. I personally meditate twice a day, once in the morning, then once before I go to bed. The only reason why I meditate at night is to help me sleep. So at night, I will lay down, but in the morning, I will always sit because I don't want to fall back asleep. But if you are only planning on meditating one time per day, definitely do it sitting, and I would recommend doing it in the morning. How should I sit? For total beginners, I would recommend sitting in a chair with your eyes closed, head facing forward, straight back, feet flat, with your hands just relaxing on your legs. You will see Buddhist monks sitting cross-legged with their feet facing up. This is the proper way to meditate, but I've personally noticed that a lot of newer people find this position to be very uncomfortable. I still think you should try it, but I would highly recommend just sitting normally in a crisscross position with your legs. But if that's not comfortable, just sit in a chair. Once meditation becomes a daily habit, then we can try moving towards the Buddhist monk position. Should I listen to music? This one is really up to you, but for beginners, I would suggest listening to a very calm, relaxing piano song, or maybe just something like nature sounds. I personally use an app called Relaxing Melodies, and no, this is not a sponsorship. And I listen to a song called Eternity, but meditating without music is totally fine as well. You have to just figure this out for yourself. Okay, now it's time for the really important stuff. What should I do, or what should I think about when I meditate? There are many different meditation techniques, but the one that I usually practice is something called mindfulness meditation. This is one of the most powerful meditation techniques in the entire world, and the whole idea around it is to just focus on your breathing. When you are sitting down, you need to inhale through your nose, then exhale through your nose. But the key thing here is that you have to focus all of your attention on your breath, like the sensations of the air hitting your nose, how the air fills your body and lungs, the slight pause between your inhale and your exhale. This focused attention is the thing that will get your brain to stop thinking. Now, many new people who try meditation will say things like, I'm still thinking, I have an itch that I keep scratching, I can't do this, meditation just doesn't work for me. It's completely normal and to be expected to experience all of that stuff. I've been meditating twice a day for 6 years, and I still get itchy on my face, thoughts still come into my brain, but if you keep breathing and you trust the meditation process, those thoughts and those itches will eventually go away. However, if you really are struggling not to think, then you can use my little breathing hack. When I inhale through my nose, I will stick my belly out a little bit, as if I'm filling up my belly with air. This is actually known as belly breathing, and it's actually the most relaxing way to breathe. I know this sounds like incredibly simple and a bit silly, but I promise that if you try this, you will feel so much better, even throughout your day-to-day life. Now it's time for the $1,000,000 question. question: how can I actually get this habit to stick? The best way to build this habit is to establish a habit trigger. A habit trigger can be anything that triggers you to think about the habit that you're trying to build. For example, I have a friend who wanted to start developing the habit of listening to audiobooks every single day. So every single time that he ate food, he would listen to an audiobook. His habit trigger was eating. So every time he ate food, he immediately thought, oh, it's time to listen to another audiobook. So if you're meditating in the morning, I would recommend using something like the shower as your habit trigger. So right after you shower, it's time to meditate. Or maybe you can tell yourself that you can't have your morning cup of coffee or even your breakfast until you meditate. And if none of that works, you can always just place a big sign on your door that says you can't leave the house until you meditate.
Intellectual wellness is achieved by doing things that stimulate your mind, creativity, and curiosity. Some things that you can do to achieve this form of wellness are to learn about different cultures and beliefs or ideas. Of course, developing new knowledge and skills contribute to intellectual wellness. And some other good ideas are spending time doing anything creative or picking up new hobbies. And lastly, critical thinking skills and time management are also fundamental to intellectual wellness. Environmental well-being is valuing the relationship between ourselves, the spaces we live and work in, and the planet in general. It involves noticing and understanding how our surroundings impact our thoughts and feelings, and how our actions impact our surroundings, so that we can make decisions that promote sustainability and respect for our communities. Most people don't relate environmental wellness to living spaces, and instead it's thought of as more related to nature or the outdoors. But one major way to ensure environmental wellness is to find ways to make your living space more comfortable. And this is because it's important to be comfortable in the areas that you spend the most time in. Other ways to achieve the more stereotypic idea of environmental wellness are gardening and spending time in nature, getting enough vitamin D through the sun, and limiting the amount of harmful environments and chemicals that you're exposed to. This can be things like smog, smoke, and toxic waste. And of course, participating in sustainable practices are also great ways to engage in environmental wellness. This means picking up trash, recycling, planting or starting a garden, donating clothes and items that you don't use anymore instead of just throwing them away, and also conserving water. Occupational wellness is the ability to achieve a balance between work and leisure in a way that supports your health, a sense of personal satisfaction, and is, for most people, hopefully, financially rewarding. Occupational wellness can be found by enjoying what you do every day in terms of work, volunteering, or even hobbies. It can also be finding ways to manage stress every day by making sure you balance your work and your leisure time. Occupational wellness is meant to help you feel accomplished, challenged, and motivated, but not stressed. And finally, financial wellness is about practicing better money habits. This can be done by using budgeting to save money, by paying off your debts, by participating in low-risk and smart investments, by planning for the future and for your retirement, and by making sure that you have an emergency fund for surprise expenses. This covers all 8 dimensions of wellness. Remember, they're all equally important, and they all come together to influence your health and happiness. Each of the dimensions act as one slice of the wellness pie, and now our pie is complete from every angle. Now that we've covered each of the dimensions of wellness, let's talk about the bigger picture of why wellness is important. I like this quote to sum up the importance of wellness. It says, "If you do not make time for your wellness, you will be forced to make time for your illness." This means that wellness prevents illness, and if wellness is not paid enough attention to and prioritized, your body and mind will force you to prioritize them by way of illness. Your health is everything. Treasure it. Make the time for wellness like your life depends on it, because it does. People with higher levels of well-being often experience a lower risk of illness, disease, and injury, and therefore they live longer lives. As a result, your overall wellness directly impacts your ability to heal from physical ailments, as well as the emotional or certain mental health issues. Of course, the other benefits lie in the other dimensions that we spoke about: social, spiritual, financial, environmental, and intellectual. Wellness helps to improve the quality of your life, promotes happiness and joy, increases motivation, control, patience, and satisfaction, as well as your overall chance of success. Before we wrap up, I want to discuss one more thing about wellness, and that's the commercialization of wellness. This means how wellness is marketed to us and how others can profit from that. The trend of wellness has had a revival in recent years, but unfortunately, this is because wellness is now a huge money-making industry instead of focusing on what actually works. It has been said that this industry is worth about $3.7 trillion. Consumerism, which is the trend of buying goods and services, especially at high prices, has led many people to spend lots of money on material goods that are marketed as wellness, but they often don't actually contribute to actual wellness, and they don't actually work. These products just create a sense of happiness or joy in the moment, which can be classified as a type of retail therapy. Some examples of the products that many people are buying include juices, cleanses, detoxes, crystals, and essential oils. Paying for these items distorts reality and does not place the focus on self-analysis or self-exploration, and instead it's just a distraction to pursuing actual wellness. It's created a distorted view of mental health, and it prevents the acknowledgement of what people are dealing with in their everyday lives, and therefore it denies the care that people actually need. Instead, these goods and services are just a glamorous way of dealing with mental, emotional, or physical wellness. This doesn't allow for the healing of mental or physical conditions, and it definitely does not help with financial or environmental wellness because you're spending more and likely accumulating large amounts of products. Companies and people that push these wellness-related products that don't actually work have created a self-care and wellness culture where we associate our well-being with the amount of money that we spend towards it. It's tricked people into adopting a treat yourself mentality where people are persuaded to and are willing to spend lots of money. This also makes money a barrier to wellness, and it limits who has access to it based on finances. This usually leads to exclusion based on class, income, and race, because living paycheck to paycheck often doesn't leave enough money to be spent on things beyond basic survival. If wellness is actually about being well, it should mainly begin from within and not be dependent on one's ability to afford it. However, sometimes it is necessary to pay for goods and services, but it's important to pay attention to how much you're spending. Some tips to avoid overspending on wellness products include paying attention to your budget. Make sure to focus on your bills and your necessities. You should also avoid impulsive buying, especially buying things late at night, or if you're intoxicated, or if you're experiencing any strong emotions. You should also ask yourself if the product is worth the price, or if you can get a similar item for cheaper, or if you need it at all. And lastly, you should do your research on how well these items actually work, and don't just listen to the advertisements. And now, finally, for wrap-up and review questions. True or false? Wellness can affect your mental and physical health. The correct answer is true. These are very much related, and wellness is important for healing and preventing mental and physical health issues. True or false? It is important to be able to identify emotions. The correct answer is true. If we can't identify what we're feeling, it's hard to address them and to find out what you need in order to make yourself feel better. When is the best time a person should begin to identify and use coping strategies to manage their emotions? A, after they have retired. B, after something has gone wrong. C, before something has gone wrong. Or D, never. Coping skills do not work. The correct answer is C. It's hard to brainstorm the best strategies while something is wrong. It's best to do so beforehand so that you have a plan ahead of time. Which of the following is a benefit of pursuing wellness? A, improved quality of life. B, more patience. C, better emotional control. Or D, all of the above. The correct answer is D, all of the above. Which of the following is an example of pursuing intellectual wellness? A, drinking plenty of water. B, learning new knowledge and skills. C, recycling and picking up trash. Or D, participating in activities with friends, families, and/or peers. The correct answer is B, learning new knowledge and skills. Answer choice A would be physical wellness. Answer choice C would be environmental wellness. And answer choice D would be social wellness. The last question is, true or false? The more money you spend on wellness, the more likely it is to work. True or false? The correct answer is B, false. Remember, some people and some companies are just selling wellness products in order to make money, but these items often don't actually work. This concludes today's video on wellness. Thank you and have a great day.